Have you ever felt like no matter how much you want to stick to a diet plan, something just takes over? You find yourself eating something that you know you shouldn't before you even realize it, or you don't notice how much you've eaten until you're uncomfortably full. And then afterwards, you always think, I know what I should be doing, so why can't I just do it? If that sounds familiar, you're not alone. Almost every client I work with says the exact same thing. And what's happening here isn't about willpower or discipline. It's about what I call the spinning. And so spinning feels like that inner chaos when your mind races and you're thinking, I shouldn't be eating this, but I really want it. Maybe just one. And then, oh no, I've blown it. That spinning is usually your body brushing up against an emotion that feels unsafe to feel. And when I say unsafe, I don't mean it's dangerous. The unsafe feeling gets wired into your nervous system because at some point in your life, you learned that emotion wasn't allowed. So maybe when you were little, if you cried or got upset, someone would tell you, stop being dramatic or don't be a baby. And oftentimes, kids get punished or sent to their rooms or even made fun of if they can't control their emotions. And by get control of the emotion, I mean they learn how to push it down. So when we're kids, we learn really fast that we need to push the emotion down. But when we look at child development, this is what kids need to learn. It's what we needed to learn. So without realizing it, children are learning it's not safe to feel this. And that's the beginning of a lifetime struggle with that emotion. And so if we fast forward into adulthood, when this same emotion starts to rise, your nervous system immediately goes into an activity or a thought pattern that shuts it down. And that can be with food, it can be with strolling, it can be through going off by yourself. Whatever helps keep that feeling out of your awareness is what your nervous system will do. And then what I've seen happen is that right on top of that spinning comes what I call the fighting. And that's that inner critic voice. So it might say, you're going to get fat if you eat this. You have no self control. It'll tell you you're being bad, I'm being bad, or that everyone's going to notice that you've gained weight or that you're gaining weight. And it's a really shaming and critical voice. But what's so important to understand is that these thoughts don't just stay in your mind, they show up in your body too. So you can have tense shoulders or a tight jaw or a headache or a pit or nausea in the stomach. And so we've got two battles, two emotional tensions happening at once. There's that spinning that says, I can't handle this feeling and I need to do something about it. And then the fighting that says, what's wrong with me for wanting to eat this food or do the whatever the thing is that helps you move away from the emotion. And it's that combination that keeps you so stuck. And this is why diets alone don't work. Because even if you take the food away, the emotion is still there. And the nervous system has shifted into a survival response that feels better with food. So, the most common emotions that I see women struggle with are grief and anger and loneliness and stress. And so, when your nervous system is still running on those same old patterns of, oh no, I can't feel this, it's nearly impossible to change your habits. And that's why so many women tell me I can follow a program for a few weeks, but I always end up back where I started, or sometimes it's even further behind where I started. And it's not because you're broken or something is wrong with you. It's because the diet industry has us chasing the wrong solution. We put all of our time and energy into fixing the food when the food is really what's masking all that's underneath the surface of your awareness. And so the real work isn't about forcing yourself to follow a plan. It's about slowing down enough to notice more about what the food is masking. And so some questions you can ask are, what am I feeling in my body right now? What does that inner critic voice sound like? Where is this tightness or the urge or the spinning coming from? And I'll be honest that this can sometimes be really hard to do alone because when it's a developmental pattern, the same way a child needs someone to say, "You're safe and I've got you and it's okay to be you no matter what," your nervous system needs that same support so that you can learn how to safely navigate and feel the complexity of what food is trying to cover up for you. And I want to end with letting you know that the beautiful part of this is that when you can start to release that emotional energy, then if you're someone who struggles with physical pain or chronic symptoms, those patterns will also ease too, because your mind and your body aren't separate. They're working together. And so when you calm the survival responses, everything about the balance in your body changes. Your pain, your relationship with food, even your energy and your weight and your immunity can all rebalance. And so if you are someone who's been stuck in that pattern of spinning and fighting, please know that it's not a lack of discipline and you don't need another diet. It's a survival response, and survival responses can be rewired. When you learn how to slow down and feel safe with your emotions, you can release the grip of the inner critic and your body naturally finds the right balance. And that is when weight loss feels possible. That's when symptoms start to go away. So below, I've put a link to a free guide that explains a little bit more about that physical and emotional hunger. Feel free to download it and send me any questions that you have along the way.